Welcome to the Unclejaypodcast. I'm your host, Uncle Jay, here where we dive into sports, entertainment, and world news. Tonight I have a special guest, the one, the only, the man, the myth, Bad Brad Berkwitt. Did I get it? Did it do good, brother?
You got it, brother.
That was a big concern. That was a big
The three
concern.
B's.
Yeah. All right, so just why don't you just tell the folks a little bit about yourself?
Oh man, where you want me to start?
Well, I mean, you lived in Westchester County from 68 to 75.
Right.
You moved back in 84 to 85.
Mhm.
Then you moved to Brewster County in 85, where you graduated high school in 86. And then 3 months after that, I believe you joined the Navy.
You got it, brother. You got it.
What?
Well, yes, Westchester County, born New Rochelle, home of the Dick Van Dyke Show. If anybody watched the Dick Van Dyke Show,
I remember it. I've seen it. Yep.
Lived there up until the first grade, and then my parents divorced, and my dad moved to Miami Beach in 1975, and I went with my dad, and I actually grew up with my dad down in Florida from 75 to 84, and then back to New York. So New York has always been in my blood. You know, I love going back, love visiting. There's nothing like New York style pizza. You know, we're close to Chicago, Debbie and I. That casserole they call a pizza is not a fucking pizza. I don't care what they say. I don't care if you're up in Buffalo, where you at. You take that big slice, you fold that slice, you let that oil drop off, you eat it like this.
Absolutely.
That's pizza.
Don't ever take a napkin and dab the pizza.
Oh, hell no.
You could get knocked out for doing something like that here in Buffalo.
Exactly, Jay. Exactly.
Yeah, we're the home of the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, the Buffalo chicken wings and pizza, and roast beef on wick. That's our staples.
And a hell of a lot of snow. You get a hell of a lot of snow up there.
Yes, we do. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what the area was like growing up, in Westchester and Brewster County? Like I know, so you're 56, so you grew up in the 60s and 70s, and when it was really crazy, civil rights, all of the big stuff going on. How was it in those areas of New York when you were growing up there?
You know something, like I said, I was born in New Rochelle, and then we moved to Merrineck Avenue. And for any of your people watching, right around the corner of Merrineck Avenue, there's Sal's Pizzeria, which is still there, been there for decades. And the Long Island Sound's right across the street. It was a great time. I went to Merrineck Avenue Elementary School for kindergarten through first grade. And it just a different time in the country. We know Nixon had just resigned, Ford had taken over. I always tell people, we've always had, even though I was a little kid, we've always had racism in this country. It's always been there. But it still was a different time. Now, we didn't have social media where it exploded, all of this fighting, people, hiding behind fake profiles and with this racism and misogyny and all this type of thing. But it was a different childhood. We had Welcome Back Carter, the Sweat Hogs. We had Laverne and Shirley, Happy Days. We used to watch shows like this, wholesome shows. We had variety shows, which I love, Tony Orlando and Dawn, even the Osmonds, all of that stuff. They had all these great acts, Sonny and Cher.
The Gong Show.
Yeah, the Gong Show. I used to love the Gong Show with Chuck Barris and the unknown comic with the bag on his head. Hilarious. Now everything is reality TV, but I enjoyed my childhood. My father, who we'll probably get into a little bit, was an activist. He spoke his mind, so obviously I get it honestly. And, he was doing this thing more so when we moved to Florida, but when Israel had problems early on in the early 70s, he wanted to go and enlist. He couldn't. He was too old. But, it was just a different time in the country, and it was to me a sweeter time.
Well, here's the thing. I was gonna wait and do this at the end of the show, but because you went ahead and spoke about your father, this is the reason why I reached out to you and wanted to get to know you and do a show with you. I'm gonna read something here that you posted about your dad, and this is what really caught me. My life. Where there is racism, I'm calling it out. Where there is discrimination, I'm calling it out. When humanity is attacked, I'm calling it out. When democracy is attacked, I'm calling it out. My father did it before me. And in this video, now you and so now he's handed the torch off to you. And then there's a really great video from your father, June 2nd of 1977, letting some folks know how he felt about the temperament of the country and things that were going on at that
Yeah.
time. I think that's was something that you alluded to when you brought up your pops wanting to enlist and couldn't.
Yeah.
And so why don't you tell us a little bit about, what your father meant to you and how you were able to see the great man he was and want to take that torch and run with it.
Well, first of all, I wanted to tell you that I'm very touched that you brought up my father. Hope I don't get I'll probably get emotional here for a little bit.
That's
That's just
fine. Don't
me.
worry about it,
You know,
man.
my thing, and thank you for that. I appreciate that because a lot of people over the last couple of years, people actually from way back then, it said, I saw that clip of your father because it was a piece of a whole NBC Nightly News special. I saw it in Australia. I had people contact me and say, I remember that. My father and mother pointed that out to me. And another part about that clip, it was actually a piece of it. I'll send you it offline. I'll DM it to you, Jay. Was
Okay.
used in the movie Milk, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Sean Penn.
Mm-hmm.
So
I saw it. Great movie.
okay. So that what that clip was about was in the 1970s on Miami Beach, Anita Bryant, who had a big commercial deal with Tropicana orange juice, came out against the gay community. And my father, who was straight, but he was an ally, it didn't matter if it was African Americans, Native Americans. Then it wasn't LGBTQ, it was gay and lesbian. He fought for anybody that was marginalized in this country. So what you saw was not on Twitter where people are safe. That was in the streets. So when that kid approached him, he was actually handing out pamphlets to vote against the referendum they had. They wanted to take away gay rights on Miami Beach. I don't know exactly what the referendum was. So he was fighting against it. And what you saw was not on cue cards. That was my dad rolling from his feelings, from the gut. My dad stood 5'2", but he was a giant. He was Joe Pesci and Danny DeVito because he acted for a little while, but it didn't work out. He was those types in their height, but larger than life. He walked in a room, he commanded the room. People loved him, but he fought racism because he was Jewish, and there was a lot of anti-Semitism on here, like he said. Where do you see it? Back then, we didn't say African Americans, we said Negroes. He said, where do you see a Negro equal on his feet? Show me. The kid was against him. But here's the difference between 77 and now. My dad stood his ground. The kid was looking at the other kid. He was probably about 17 years old. That guy, 18 years old, max. But at the end, he shook my dad's hand. Today with MAGA, that wouldn't happen. That would not happen. They'd walk away or they want to fight him or my dad would shoot him or whatever the case may be. It wouldn't work out like that. He was what you saw. He stood on the right side of history. He always did. And I carry that torch now. He taught me at a young age, you don't judge anybody by the color of their skin, but the content of their soul, kind of what Martin Luther King said.
Absolutely.
He marched with King in 63. Okay. He fought for gay rights. He took me around that time. So in 77, Jay, I was 9 years old because I'm born April 18th.
Okay.
So he took me to a rally. At that time, it was at the Miami Beach Convention Center. Now it's called the Jackie Gleason Performing Arts on Miami Beach. And I watched the Anita Bryant rally. And you can't make this shit up. And people watching this, if they know anything about Anita Bryant, they'll know what I'm talking about. She had these stormtroopers look like Nazis come out with the glasses on, like the state troopers. You can't see in them, but you could see out. And they came out in tight pants, the suit, helmets, and they marched. They didn't have SWAT stickers on, but they marched. And they called them Cops for Christ. They might as well have been Nazis. They wanted to do away with anybody that was homosexual. They were saying homosexual school teachers are going to make your kids gay. I had gay school teachers that were some of the best teachers I had, especially in the arts, that they could care less about grooming somebody like they say this shit now, which is bullshit. Then they get caught with all of it.
Yeah, I had a gay music teacher, and he was he was a great teacher. He was amazing, knew his shit, and he was a great dresser. So I mean,
there you go. But yeah, no, my dad was what you saw. And in the movie Milk, I got a call in 2009, which was a very emotional year for me because it was 11 years at that point that my dad had passed. I get a call from the West Coast, and someone says, "Hey, Bradley," that's my full name. He said, "I think your father is in Milk." I'm like, "How can he be in Milk?" And Sean Penn wound up winning an Oscar. He played Harvey Milk, who
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
gay congressman from,
Yep.
I think it was councilman, might have been a councilman.
Yeah, he was assassinated, and
Yeah,
Diane Feinstein
right,
was
was the mayor.
mayor or some shit.
Yeah,
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 San
yeah. I
Francisco.
remember the story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just named a ship after him, I think a USNS. So they called me and I said, "How can that be?" Because he could. So, but I watched the movie, and sure enough, it was public footage. So it started out with Jerry Brown, who was the governor, Ronald Reagan, my father, and then a guy who was against gay rights. So I reached out. I'm in media, so I reached out to somebody, and I found the actual guy that found that footage and put it in the movie. So he said, "Hey, I still got the email from his name is Ken Rabin." He said, "Look, it was the most compelling footage that we used, public footage, and I was happy that we were able to use it." He said, "Look, contact NBC, and here's your contact in New York. I think at Rockefeller Center, maybe, and ask them if you can get a video." He said, "Probably cost you about 150." I said, "I don't care if it cost me 1,050. I want a copy of that DVD." I wound up getting it, including some of the stuff that didn't make the NBC nightly news of my dad. So it was really wonderful to see that. And that's the clip that you see, that piece of it. But there's more to that story than just my dad's portion. Yep.
Well, that video was a breath of fresh air with everything that's going on now. It goes to show that even back then, we had a lot of what we're going through now. It almost seems like they are taking us backwards. You know what I
Jay,
mean?
they are. Jay, think about it. June 2nd, 1977, he's fighting for gay rights. He's pointing out, where is a Negro equal on this beach? Show me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I saw the signs when he first, because my dad was born in 1928. I think his first time in Florida probably was around 48, 49. I saw the signs, he said, that said no dogs and Jews allowed. That's why he asked the kid about the Rabbi Weberman, because there was a place called the Bath Club, which is still there. At one time, I don't know now what their rules are, they didn't allow Negroes and Jews in their club, period. And the beach at that time was predominantly Jews. All those people standing around my dad in that clip are for the most part, are Jewish people. So he spoke out about that. So think about it. All these years later, the LGBTQ community now is what we call it. We're fighting for LGBTQ rights again. They want to take them away.
Oh, they're going to. I mean, this Supreme Court that we currently have right now is the most corrupt it's ever been.
100%.
I mean, they stole one seat and were able to put in two more. I mean, they've literally changed the landscape of this country, because don't you think for 1 minute that if, what we can hope for is that he's found guilty of some kind of criminal activity, and then maybe we can look at trying to change some of the justices, and I don't know how that all works out.
Right.
I'm not in law, in the law game, but we're in trouble, because next is gay rights, and then after that it's going to be you can't, a white guy can't date a black.
Yeah, be interracial marriages. They'll come after
there'll be
next.
interracial relationships.
But you know what's disgusting, Jay? Is Thomas, who's married to a white woman, an African American man married to a white woman, said that he would look at it. Look at what? Look at what? This son of a bitches, they're so crooked. Coney Barrett, Spuds McKenzie, or Spuds, what the hell is his name?
Kavanaugh?
Kavanaugh, Spuds Kavanaugh, his nickname.
Yeah, I like beer.
Gorsuch, right, and Gorsuch all said Roe versus Wade was already settled, and they all lied, but they're not held accountable. And I don't know how they expand the court, but if President Biden gets a second term and he's able to do it, I wish he would expand the court, because it's ridiculous.
Well, they're going to have to expand the court at some point, because if they don't, we're going to be it will be Handmaid's Tale. It'll be some weird Christian national, some weird Christian shit, man. And these Christians, they love fucking Donald Trump, and it's like, bro, he could give two fucks about you people. He's selling you Bibles and gold sneakers and fucking cups, and it's all scams. They're all getting scammed. Everybody's, it's like cards and trade. It's a mess, man. I never in a million years thought that we would be here from an 80s baby. Like, because I really started to get into politics, with the whole Reagan thing and Ollie North and the Contra and stuff. And I'm pretty young, like I said, I'm only 48, but politics, it interested me. The way the country operates. Like, we send people to go on our behalf, and it doesn't work that way anymore. They're there on the behalf of the corporations, special interest groups, and they're fucking us. I mean, there's no inflation. People want to say, oh, inflation and gas prices. No, it's corporate greed.
It is corporate greed. I actually believe, Jay, that they're doing it so Biden doesn't win, because everything is blamed on Biden. Your egg prices, your this price. And here's the thing. I've always said this. I have no problem with companies making money, because that's what they got overhead, they got salaries. But how much is too fucking much? And if you want to really help the economy, really help America, how much do you have to fucking make to be greedy? Walmart pays people shit, but they make extravagant huge amounts of money. It's ridiculous. And I'll never tell somebody what to do with their money. But if you want to show that you care, then make some fucking sacrifices. And in fairness, like Biden says, pay your fucking fair share. I'm not saying that the rich, top one. I don't Bernie Sanders the whole top 1%. I don't think because you become wealthy you should get punished, but you should pay your fair share in taxes. I know that there's tax breaks for companies, putting companies here and in areas where they build up and they give jobs. I get it. But you need to pay your fair share, everybody. And they don't like when Biden says it. They make fun of Biden when he talks about, which is the truth. We like potato chips. The fucking bag has this much air in the fucking bag.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how they're ripping you off. Now, I don't know if you put it on a scale and it really weighs 13 ounces, but I know that the fucking prices keep going up and half the fucking bag is air.
Absolutely.
I'm like, really? Come on.
And they're making record profits.
Yeah.
Record profits. And CEOs are getting paid like, millions and millions of dollars. And it's like, fucking give me a break, man. But they want to complain about giving some guy who's working at a fucking fast food joint $15 an hour.
Exactly.
Like, my thing is this. How I feel about the wages in this country is that it should have been increased over the last 50 fucking years, so that a person could be earning people say, oh, well, you're not supposed to work at McDonald's, that's not a fucking career. Well, yeah, it is now, because we're a service sector country. We service people, and so people are gonna have to fucking make a decent living, whether they're working at Walmart. I mean, Walmart's employees are subsidized. They get fucking food stamps and shit. And Walmart is like fucking just bought a football team. So what are we doing here?
You know what? You had people in the military. I was in from 86 to 2000. You had young troops that were getting food stamps that were fighting for their fucking country. That's fact. That ain't fucking fiction. And see, you just said something that ties into something I talk about. Over the last 50 years. So that means Democratic and Republican presidents, and Democratic and Republican, when they had the House or the Senate, this should have been dealt with. But see, now we're having a reckoning with everything, because this fucking country, and I love this country with all of its fucking warts, but it pisses me off at the same time. There should have been a reckoning a long time ago. We did civil rights, but we should have fixed it completely. Where, you know what? I wish we didn't have DE&I. I wish we didn't have affirmative action, which they did away with, I believe. But you know what? We need them, because people of color are fucking put second class, and women are still getting fucked in this country. That's why I don't understand why white women period, but white women in general would vote for fucking a misogynistic fucking pig and a party that wants her in the kitchen cooking and in the bedroom having sex. And they look at them like they're a second class citizen. I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in religion, any religions that treat women like second class. They walk behind them, or they're treated less than, or in some countries they cut their clitoris off so they can't have an orgasm, whatever reason they're doing it. And this isn't talking crazy. This is fucking, I think it's Somalia. But okay, I don't believe in any of that shit. Women, I want a female president. Because you know what? If you only want to look at it from the aspect of she can't fuck it up any worse than the men have done.
No, not at all.
What you just said about the last 50 years, the time and what I'm saying is, if we had a reckoning with LGBTQ, their rights, Roe versus Wade was already settled, but Trump got it fucking overturned. If we would have what's that noise? Something fell down. If we would have reckoned with these things years ago, whether it was Democratic or Republican, we wouldn't have to deal with all of it. But Biden, in fairness to him, has taken so much on. It's like Obama finally dealt with healthcare because Clinton couldn't get it done. Hillary tried to do it. They fucking lambasted him. They couldn't get it done. Obama took it on and did something with it. Can it be better? Sure, but he gave us something. And he's fucking two teeth, two fucking brain cells MAGA. If you say to them at a rally, Obamacare, they say, I don't want that shit. But if you say to them, the ACA, they're like, oh, I like that.
Yeah,
it's
don't fuck with
it. Yep. Thing, you morons.
Yeah.
And Obama even said, if you can improve on it, I'm all for it. We can always make it better.
Absolutely.
But they don't want to do that. Trump said, let's do away with it. Only because Obama's name was attached to it. He wanted to erase everything a black man did in this country. And we wouldn't have had Trump if Obama wasn't in there because there was so much racism.
Absolutely.
The hypocritical part is everything that I don't care about the policies. We can always argue policies. He was a married man. He didn't cheat on his wife. He was respectful. He carried himself with class. His daughters weren't getting in fucking trouble. They weren't pieces of shit like Eric Trump and fucking Donald Trump Jr. They weren't scumbags. And they have fucking drug addiction problems, which I don't care about that part, but it's the hypocrisy of it. They were everything that Christians are supposed to represent, but the problem was the complexion of his skin was a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what makes me sick. And then the hypocrisy that they didn't give him a chance to get a Supreme Court justice. He actually wanted Merrick Garland, who's more center, we now found out, as Attorney General, but Mitch McConnell blocked it, and he had like 9 months or so to the election, but they pushed in a couple weeks or 30 days tops, whatever it was or less, Amy Coney Barrett through. So you see the fucking hypocrisy between the Republicans and the Democrats.
Yeah, always. And like you said with the DEI, the ones that got hurt the most with that were white women.
Mm-hmm.
And as a father of 4 girls, like, I don't want my girls treated the way that these fucking dudes treat their wives. It's disgusting. You know what I'm saying? And it scares me because now they want to control what my daughter does with her body.
Right.
And pretty soon it's going to be contraceptive and birth control, and you can't get the pill. Whatever. Thank God I live in a blue state. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you got crime and all this," and it's like, no, crime is in the red states. Blue states got shit under control. You keep reading that bullshit, and then I read today on one of the websites that are, I hope I'm saying this right, our GDP. Did I say it right, or is it the other way around?
GDP. Yeah, GDP. Yeah, I think it is. Gross.
Okay. His tax breaks for the wealthy, Trump,
they expire next year.
Yeah. And it takes up like a large portion of our national. Hope I'm saying it right. GDP. I think I'm saying it right. And I was just flabbergasted that these people.
Is it gross domestic product? I can't remember what it is. GDP.
Yeah, you're right. It's GDP. Okay. Yep, it's right. GDP. So you see him in rallies telling the wealthy rich folks like, hey man, vote for me. I'm going to get you the money. And it's just like, what are these people thinking? I don't get it. And you're a military guy, you spent 20 years in the Navy, right? And you've done all kinds of things in the Navy. You worked in, you were in both wartime and peacetime. Boot camp, Great Lakes, Illinois, Pensacola, Florida. I'm not even going to try the one in Italy. Gulf War, Washington, Washington D.C. 2 tours at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Go ahead, tell us a little bit about what you did for this country, and then to have to see the way it's starting to turn out.
Well, first of all, I want to offer your talking point about taxes. When he said before he got it passed,
go ahead,
that this is going to hurt me, the tax cuts that he was going to make, he projects. So he said it was going to hurt him. He didn't pay fucking hardly any taxes. So right then and there, you knew that it was going to fuck the medium class people. So that's all a bunch of bullshit. His tax cuts help the fucking wealthy because that's all he don't even care about them. But what I remind people is, don't just get wrapped around. Yeah, I do my MMFV, my MAGA motherfucker videos about the rally people because they drive me nuts when they put the fucking microphone in their face and they say the dumbest, stupidest shit. And then some of those people that interview him give him facts and their fucking heads explode. But anything he says, it's the fucking opposite. He projects. He don't care about the rich, but you don't see those rich, very wealthy people that donate money to his coffers because they don't want to associate with them, but they wanted his tax cuts and they want those three justices. So they remain silent. About the military, yeah, I worked in intelligence during the. I've had one rating when I first came in. Then I went in. I became a CT, and them two brain cell motherfuckers who love to attack my shadow box. I had one guy take my shadow box and literally broke it down what it meant, and he had it all fucking wrong because they're so fucking smart. They always get my rank wrong. They get my rating wrong. Whatever they, stolen valor. That isn't even a real shadow box. Whatever. So everything that they project on me is what their boy is, because if you go to Mar-a-Lago, he's got fake magazine covers. Watch it. Every fucking thing that I say, because I correct people a lot. I'm like, no, it's actually this. It's actually this, because sometimes they misunderstand. But I worked in intelligence from 1990 till I retired. I did, when I was in Sigonella, Sicily, I got there in May of 90, October of 90, the Gulf War kicked off. Okay? I never said, though they want to try to say it, I said this, which is bullshit, that I walked around with a gun. I was in infantry. At first, I was in the Navy. So I worked for the Defense Courier Service. I was on every fucking plane you could imagine, flying in country in the fucking darkness of night. I was so heavily armed, they gave me a fucking 38, which was an insult. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with a 38? They fucking shooting with machine guns or whatever the fuck they had. What am I going to do? I'm going to shoot one time and make them mad. They're going to fucking shoot me 100 times. I said, I'll take the gun, I'll throw it at them. That's what we had in our flight suits to protect us. So we would deliver highly classified material that would go to the front lines in countries. We would land on airstrips. Didn't even know half the time where the fuck I was. Land on them, get back. Landed on aircraft carriers. Landed on, heloed in on ships. Landed on the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, the Forrestal, the aircraft carriers. Delivered on the side of a submarine one time in Syracuse, which is in Sicily. But they say, you were never in no war. You didn't see no action. Okay, you're right. You know every fucking thing about me because like Trump, because, Trump served in, that's right, he served in nothing with his 5 deferments. Then I was in Cuba, like you mentioned. I went to Cuba in 95. When I got there, 30,000 migrants were trying to leave, like in 1980 with the Mario Boldiff, like in the movie Scarface. They were trying to leave, but they cut them off this time. They didn't make it to Miami. So they put them on the base. So when on our base, they had to get rid of, because one day there's a cross there. I forget what the cross represents. You could Google it. Your viewers could Google it. They left the camps and they went to this cross and they were they didn't do anything. They weren't hurting anybody, but they were praying. It was like a religious thing. So they knew they didn't want to shoot them or anything. So they said all dependents have to be left to leave Guantanamo Bay. And keep in mind, it's the only base on communist soil, but you can't leave the base. So you have people that work from Guantanamo Bay City. They come in on boats and they work at the exchange. Some people actually left Cuba in 59 when Castro came in and worked on the base and retired and lived, maybe not now because we're talking 30 years ago. They're probably all dead now, but lived on the base. So they evacuated dependents. So when we used to drive out by the beach, we had camps where they built, they put tents and they also built wooden, like open bay barracks, and that's where they lived. And basically for almost my whole tour over there. And then went back to D.C., like you said. D.C., I was in the ceremonial guard. I ran what was called the Yankee White program, which is an access program. Whenever you see the young sailors, anybody from any service that's near the president, they have to get put through a Yankee White. They have to get a Yankee White access. So I ran that program. Then I did recruiting, and I finished up in 06. From 03 to 06, I was in the Pentagon. I worked for the chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff. I actually worked for the Army in the Psychological Operations Division. I wasn't a PSYOP guy, but I ran their SCIF, which is a Sensitive Compartment Information Facility. That's where Trump should have gone to review classified material, not in the fucking toilet at Mar-a-Lago. So I'm going to tell this for your viewers and for you, Jay. That fucking case that Eileen Cannon may fucking put in a tank, had that been anybody else, including me, I would have been locked up pre-trial. And I'll give you a perfect example to back up what I say, because I'm only talking fucking facts. The young man that got caught, I forget his name, Jack something, I think, that was in a chat room. He got locked up pre-trial, and I think he negotiated, I want to say 16 or 18 fucking years he's going to prison. Trump had that shit all over the place. He couldn't declassify it because he's just said so. But it's the magical. They don't give a fuck. And what he had, I actually believe in years to come we're going to find out he sold fucking secrets and
He
everything
did.
else. And that's fucking treason. Period. But because it's Donald Trump, he doesn't get fucking put in pretrial prison in jail, and he should be.
Listen, and I think there was a female too. I can't remember her name. She had a really unique
You're
name.
talking about
Hope or something. It was a really unique name. I can't think of it, but they got her up. They locked her up too.
Yeah, I can't think of her name, but she got a very funny name.
Yeah, it's a very unique name. Yeah, man, the files case. I'm me personally. I'm be honest with you. I totally know I know with every fiber in me that he sold intelligence to people. There's no way he didn't. I mean, there's no way that after he leaves the office and we find out he's got sensitive information in his fucking bathroom, that all this shit starts to pop off. You know, I mean, Ukraine hadn't even started by the time he left office, right? Because they had already taken
January 21. No.
Yeah, he had took Crimea, if I'm not mistaken, while he was in office. Putin took Crimea, and he was just able to take it.
I think Crimea. Yeah, right, Crimea.
Yep.
Right.
Thank you, Peace Baby. Reality Winnie was her name.
Yeah, Reality. Right, that's right.
Thank you so much.
But go back to something you said, and I'm being serious. I know it's a funny punchline, but
go ahead.
Funny. In 2018, that motherfucking treasonous fucking traitor sat in Helsinki with Putin at the fucking thing. Dan Coates was the head of DNI, Director of National Intelligence. I believe that's what DNI is. And he fucking sat there and he had all them people in the front row. And he said, and I quote, "I asked Putin, did he meddle in the election? He told me no. I have no reason not to." They should have gassed up fucking Air Force One, left that fat fuck over in Helsinki to swim his ass back to fucking America. And if it was a 25th Amendment or whatever it was, he should have been, as much as I fucking despise, and I call him Mike Penis, not Pence because he's a fucking dick. Mike Penis should have been the president, and he should have been impeached right then and there for being that fucking treason. You said earlier about Reagan. I don't give a shit if you hate every fucking policy that Reagan had, and if you say he was a racist and all that shit, fine. The one thing that Reagan didn't say, or Papa Bush didn't say, or Junior Bush didn't say, or fucking Cheney didn't say, okay, is Russia is our fucking friend. They are not. Gorbachev, Reagan worked with them, but we still didn't trust them. But we were able to tear down that wall, Mr. Gorbachev.
Yeah.
Then you had Boris Yeltsin there. We never trusted him. You had Khrushchev during Kennedy's time. We knew what they were. Putin, we never had a sitting president, Republican or Democrat, that said, Xi in China, Orban, Kim Jong-un, who I was stationed in Korea when his father was there, who was even fucking, who in some ways was worse. And his sister actually is worse than all of them combined.
Yeah.
If she ever gets in, you're going to see all kinds of people die.
Yeah.
And fucking Putin, everybody's a dictator. You never had anybody say, those were the people I want to be like. And he told us what he's going to be. And if that motherfucker gets in a second term, it's going to be all about retribution. I'll be on a list. I'll be lower priority. But I've been talking about him since he was the president. He will come for every fucking buddy. Period.
Yeah, he come for all of us. And hey, man, I don't give a fuck. Come get me, because my page is what it is. And I post what I feel and what I believe. And that's that. You dig what I'm saying? But I know you're a big boxing fan. What about what do you think about the Tyson Jake Paul thing? You think it's a big joke, or do you think Tyson's really training to knock his ass out?
I think it's this. I think it's bastardizing boxing. And I'll tell you what, I know Mike personally.
No. Go ahead. I really want to hear what you got to say.
I don't like that the Paul brothers. It's a freak show. It's a reality show. First of all, Mike is born in '66, so he is in June. He's going to be 58 years old.
Yeah, 58.
This June he'll be 58 years old. The one thing Mike didn't lose is power, because like George Foreman, that's the last thing to go in a fighter. The moves can be, can't see the punches coming like Ali, but the last thing you lose is power. And Mike Tyson is a devastating puncher. But they're not judging it. The only way you can win is by knockout. It's a lot of money, but it does nothing for boxing. And what disgusts me is if you go back when Tyson Fury fought the MMA guy, and it went to a decision, and it was a split decision, which tells me the MMA guy, Patrick, I forget how to say his name, starts with N, probably won, but they ripped him off. But then Anthony Joshua fought him, and he destroyed
knocked him out. Yeah, destroyed him.
But the thing that pissed me off was the WBC, the World Boxing Council, gave the MMA guy on one fight a top 10 ranking. That's insulting to every fighter in the world that's training in the heavyweight division to be ranked and get a title shot. So in answer to your question, I blame Floyd Mayweather for a lot of this shit, because when he fought Conor McGregor, that fight was fixed. Floyd could have stopped him in any round he wanted to. Conor McGregor could not fight. Floyd let him bust him up a little bit, and he took him out in a 10. And I want to say, I'm not 100%, but I think it might be true, it might not. I can't remember.
It was TKO.
I would bet it.
It was TKO.
Right, it was TKO. Right.
Yeah.
But he carried him. There's no way.
Oh, for sure.
Take Conor McGregor out. Come on.
For sure. Floyd can probably fight half of the guys in his weight class today and probably still win.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what happened Saturday night with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Right. I mean, that was like, I just don't get it, man. It's like they prop these guys up. Devin Haney isn't a really great fighter, and I don't really think Ryan Garcia is really a great fighter either. There are no real true fighters anymore. You know what I mean?
There's very, very few. That's true. You're not going to see, I grew up, I started following boxing in 75. I was 7 years old. My father followed it, from the 40s on.
And so you got to see the greats.
He knew some of the boxing greats, right?
Yeah.
So I wind up boxing as an amateur from 80 to 83 out of North Miami Beach, Florida. And then I started writing about boxing and doing interviews. That's how I made my bones doing all of this, doing interviews. And that's when my book came out. So for over a quarter of a century, I was covering boxing. I don't cover it much anymore, which led to my induction into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame. But
I wanted to bring that up, but go ahead.
I get asked all the time, what will bring boxing back? It's not coming back, because sadly, it's not on regular TV anymore. When I used to watch it, and you're old enough to remember, ABC, CBS, and NBC had it all on.
Saturdays and Sundays.
On all three of those networks, they had boxing.
Yep.
But the big fights like Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tom Hearns were closed circuit, where you could go.
Yeah, Hagler and Hearns, Leonard and Hagler.
Right, but those were fights that were worthy of paying extra.
Absolutely.
Now everything they want to put on pay-per-view, which is a ripoff. The worst pay-per-view ever was Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, but because Floyd knew that Manny had a chance, not saying he would, had a chance to beat him when he first talked about it in 2009. So he waited 6 years till Manny started getting. Then they had the pay-per-view for $100. It was the worst fight I ever saw. It was horrible.
Absolutely
horrible. Now Showtime doesn't have boxing anymore. HBO doesn't have boxing anymore, and they're putting fights on pay-per-view that are ridiculous. So I mean, I don't even watch it as much as I used to. But what I know about the sport, I know it like the back of my hand. My era, which is 70s, 80s, and the 90s. But yeah, what did you want to ask me about the Hall of Fame?
No, I was a segue into the Hall of Fame, but one quick thing. Leonard and Hagler, I got to see that fight at the Buffalo Odd closed circuit. And it was a great fight. Me personally, I thought Hagler won, but hey, whatever. Sugar Ray was, a fantastic fighter. And so, it is what it is. But yeah, I was going to kind of, get into your boxing thing, but you kind of jumped into it. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about like your career and what made you get into boxing and love the sport as much as you did and follow it.
Okay. I'm going to tell you one thing off of your talking point about Sugar Ray. Now, I scored that fight. I have it on VHS. I saw it closed circuit at Pensacola Civic Center. I was in the Navy, and that fight was April 6, 1987. So I hadn't even turned 19 years old because I was 18, turning 19. I bet my measly E2 check on Marvin Hagler. I had a $5 bet here, a $10 bet here. Hagler was my guy. I like Sugar Ray, but Hagler was my guy. Now, a couple things. Sugar Ray, I believe, got thumbless gloves for that fight. Also, it wasn't 15 rounds. It was 12. I've scored that fight several times. I had it 7-5 for Sugar Ray.
Mm.
When he was doing that last 30-minute second, the shoe shine
Still
in
in
the
rounds.
corner, he was influencing the judges. Now, had it been 15 rounds, Hagler was coming on. Hagler also started a little late in that fight. He should have started early because he was a slow starter. He was getting frustrated. So I had a 7-5. I think if it went 15, I think Hagler would have won. Now I got to tell you, I told you I was stationed in Sigonella, Sicily during the Gulf War. In June of 1991, I'm in a town called Taormino, which is a resort town in Sicily. I'm in a club, outdoor nightclub, gorgeous nightclub. Can't remember the name of it, but I got a card somewhere with it. And a guy comes over me. We're talking. We're shooting the shit. I was with a couple of guys, dependent husbands of some sailors. People I was stationed with. So we drive. One of my buddies drives. He said, "Hey, come here." I said, "Yeah." He says, "You're a New Yorker, huh?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm from New York." We start shooting the shit. And somehow, some way, we got on the subject of boxing. And I could start rattling off about boxing, probably like you could talk about the Bills, about the history of the Bills. So he says, "Come with me. I've got to show you. I'm going to introduce you to somebody." So I'm like, "Okay, who's here?" He takes me over to these bleachers, like football bleachers. Bleachers, nobody's sitting there. At the top of the bleacher, there's a gentleman sitting there, and I will describe what he was wearing: a black shirt, a white double-breasted sport coat, black slacks, and he had a big necklace on, gold necklace with a big boxing glove. And he had in the boxing glove the following letters in big diamonds: MMH. Holy fuck, it was Marvin Hagler. So he introduced me. So he said, "Sit down." He's trying to talk to me in Italian. I said, "I only know the curse words, Marvin." He married an Italian woman. That's why he lived in Italy. He also made movies with Anthony Quinn's son. He played like a military type of guy. So he's feeling me out. I'm like, "Marvin, your record was 62-2-2, or 63, 62-3-2, I think it was." And I told him who he had his draws with. I told him about, Sugar Ray Leonard. I asked him. He's like, "Oh, boxing." We started talking boxing. For the rest of the night, we sat there and shot the shit. It was like magic. Damn. So he says to me, I asked him, I said, "Who was your," and he still had a scar here on his forehead from the Hagler fight, because remember, Hagler cut him. I mean, Hearns cut him.
Yeah.
He said, "Tommy Hearns was my toughest opponent ever." And then he was telling me about, I already knew him because I was at his professional pro fight. He's talking about, watch out for Roy Jones. He's going to be something special. So Roy hadn't fought for the title yet, because in '93 he fought Hopkins, and that's when he became the middleweight champion, the first title he won. So we're talking. He buys me a drink, and he signs on my stuff in my memorabilia. He signs the back of the card for the place, and it says, "To Brad, hang tough in life. Your friend, champ, your friend, champ, actor, friend, marvelous Marvin Hagler." So when Marvin died a couple years ago, I didn't even know he was sick. It broke my heart because he wasn't that old. He was only in the 60s.
Yeah.
But you're talking about fighters? That was a fighter.
Yeah, that was my guy.
A fighter.
Yep, that was my guy. Him and Roberto Duran and Tommy Hitman Hearns. I thought Tommy was a beast, man.
Beast.
And then to see how those guys ended up, with you can't really understand what Tommy says. It's really tough to see, a lot of those fighters end up broke. And it's bad. It's a sad situation. But you were a boxer yourself, right?
I boxed, right, and that's where you asked me. So 7 years old, my dad introduced me to boxing. ABC, CBS, NBC, Alexis Arguello, people like that. Aaron the Hawk Pryor is my favorite fighter of all time. He's a junior welterweight champion. Only lost one time, and unfortunately, he was on drugs at the time. He could have beat the guy. He got knocked down, and he got back up. And then he got down, he crossed, he did something weird. He was on crack at the time, it's messed up. So he only has one loss. But he fought my favorite fight of all time, November 12th, 1982 in the Orange Bowl. Alexis Arguello moving up in weight, explosive thin man from Nicaragua, fighting Aaron Pryor. So it was sad because Aaron was my number one, Alexis my number two. And they had a fight, and he destroyed Alexis in the 13th round. He had him on the ropes. Alexis collapsed. The fight was over. They fought a rematch the next year in '83. In Vegas this time, and he stopped him, I think, in the 10th. But yeah, it led to me. I was going to sign up for football. and it was the old Allen Park, which is still there, but there was a boxing gym. So I'm going to sign up for football. I never played before. This is about June or July of 1980. I was 12 years old. Go to sign up, sign the paper. My dad, had to sign the paperwork. I hear and I'm like, what is that noise? I was like captivated. It was on the other side of the wall, and I went to go see what it was. It was somebody hitting a speed bag. And the repetition, and I looked at my dad, and it went just like this. I said, Dad, I don't want to play football. I want to box. And he looked at me and he said, Bradley, if you give it your all, I'll be with you all the time. So my father was at every workout, every fight. I fought all over Florida. I fought from the age of 12 to the age of 15. People laugh because I put up my articles sometime on Twitter, and they're like 82 pounds. Yeah, I was 82 pounds. By the time I got out, I was 106 pounds. Why did I want to get into it? Because it gets you in shape, but it helps you. I used to get bullied when I was a kid, and I'll tell you why I got bullied. Because my father fought for gay and lesbian rights. So they used to say back then, oh, your dad's a faggot. My dad was straight as an arrow, but it didn't matter. It's the same thing with MAGA attacking me because I got the LGBTQ flag and the trans flag. Even though it says ally, doesn't matter. You're a pedophile. You're a groomer. You're a faggot. They still say faggot. No one says faggot anymore. They say faggot.
Yeah.
I used to get picked on when I was a kid because of my dad fighting for civil rights. Racist kids didn't like that he was fighting for back then Negro rights. He didn't get Native American rights. When I was in the 3rd grade, I did a book report, and it talked about Native Americans and Negroes and how they were treated in this country. The school teacher had to get up in front of class, read my report. I even drew pictures. My 3rd grade teacher stopped me in the middle of it and said, you can't do that. I went home and told my father. My father went to the school the next day. Dr. Glick was the principal, and he said, and I quote, and had the teacher come, you will never cut my son off again because I taught him this, what the real world looks like. And he was doing a book report on what he saw and what I taught him. And that's what the world was then. And it's still now, to a certain extent. We're digressing. And he put an end to that. That was my dad. So got into it for that. So anybody that fucked with me after when I started boxing, that was it. It was on. Then I had 2 things I could defend myself. My dad said, you don't start fights. You don't start fights. But if you have to fuck somebody up because they step to you, then I got you. Yeah, I got your back. You don't create no problems. You don't start no mess, but you end the mess. So from then on, all the bullying, all that shit stopped. I never had self-esteem problems, but I had bully problems. And that also ties in why I'm an advocate of LGBTQ, African-American, women that aren't for Trump. They're their fucking problem what happens to them because they don't care about women. But women that don't support Trump, that's why I'm an ally, because I don't like to see people get bullied because I know how it felt. And I refuse to let anybody be bullied. You talked about earlier in them coming for interracial relationship. I'm in an interracial relationship. My better half is the best woman I've ever met in my life, and she's African-American. She's from Louisiana. We're in Northwest Indiana with these fucking 2 teeth, 2 fucking heck. But the thing that they know with me, for the most part, they know if you open your mouth with me, you drop the N-word with me, or you try to pull that shit, or you try to start anything with Debbie, you better get the fucking United States Navy, Army, Air Force, and Marines to pull me off. And I'm not saying I can kick everybody's ass, because I cannot. But what I will tell you is that if you start some shit, you might beat my ass, but I promise you, you're going to know from the right hand I'm going to drop on your ass, which I'm going to take the first shot. If I have to, you're going to know I was there. And that ain't tough guy talk. Don't pull that bullshit with me. I don't like that. I don't start any shit, but I don't tolerate it. I can't stand these fucking Trump flags. They defend Trump. You see, I got the flag in my shadow box. That flag was thrown over the Pentagon on April 12th, 2006, which is my dad's birthday. I retired. My retirement ceremony was in June. I took all of my leave, my final leave, and my permissive TDY was 30 days combined. It took me to September 30th, 2006. So I got 20 years and 28 days in the Navy on my DD-214. These motherfuckers, Jay, half of them didn't even serve in the Salvation Army.
No.
Period. But they talk shit. Don Jr. talks shit about the military. No, and I always get on our side too. They always say no Trump ever served. That's not true. That's not true. I will tell you and your viewers the person that served, and you got to be fair. No, it wasn't Donald Trump. No, it wasn't Trump Jr. or fucking Gums or Toot Toot, as I call Don. Fred Trump, son, who's Mary L. Trump's father.
She passed away. He passed away.
Passed away young. He was an alcoholic. He served as the second lieutenant in the Air National Guard.
Mary Trump's father, right?
Mary Trump's father.
Yep.
And if
I love her, by the way. I love her, by the way. She's an amazing person.
If you read the book, they called him, he was a pilot in Air Force. He was a pilot. They called him a bus driver in the sky. They belittled him. So when the left says no Trump served, and then when you tell some on the hard-headed left, say, well, that it doesn't matter. No, it does matter, because I'm going to give, I'm going to give somebody credit for their service, except, and I'm going to tell you the exception for me. If you support Trump after fucking January 6th, then no, I ain't got no fucking respect for your service, because I took an oath to the Constitution. You took an oath to the Constitution. He tried to overturn it in a free and fair election. And if you went to the Capitol, you should be locked the fuck up and lose your benefits. I had to tell a liberal the other day who said, well, they should be face consequences, but they shouldn't lose their benefits because they have service-related
injuries. Traitors.
And we sent them into Vietnam or here, there, or anywhere. No, they went to the fucking Capitol to overturn an election, and they wanted to hurt people. They beat the shit out of police. They're not the party owner. So no, they should not fucking keep their benefits. I don't care if they got PTSD. I don't care what their issues. They should have thought about that before they went. And the problem I have too is this whole flag thing. I tell them, look, I'm not for burning the flag. Though it's your right in this country to do that, I'm not for that. Wiping your ass with, that's disrespectful. I don't like that. But I also don't like when Trump came out in CPAC and humped the fucking flag. That's fucking beyond. Or when he put his likeness as Rambo on the fucking flag with the gun. But they talk about the flag. But yet, when Colin Kaepernick took a knee peacefully, which is his right in his country to do, and an army guy told him, take a knee, it's less disrespectful, however he termed it, he's a son of a bitch and he should be fired. Let me tell you something, and I'll say it on your show and I'll say it on mine many times. I would stand with Colin Kaepernick and take a motherfucking knee as a career veteran, because what Black Lives Matter, the cause, I'm not happy with Black Lives Matter now, but I'll address that in a second. But the cause was righteous. Police were killing black people in disproportionate numbers. And unfortunately, there's white people getting killed too. Very poor in small podunk towns that you don't hear about. But the problem is, you can't get all the people together to come together as one to speak out against what's going on with policing. So Colin Kaepernick took it upon himself and lost his career over it. Mm-hmm. The problem I have with Black Lives Matter is this. When you started seeing like Sean King, who they call Talcum X, taking money or reporting stuff that didn't fucking happen, and one of the heads of the BLM
buying houses and cars.
Houses, I'm done. I marched in Crown Point, Indiana, when they overturned Roe versus Wade in a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. I got the fucking pictures. It wasn't me who put it together. It was a young lady who was about 18 or 19 years old, put together a march, and we marched, and the MAGA motherfuckers came with their pickup trucks and their flags in the back, gassed their cars up there. The police didn't do shit about it. Black smoke everywhere, and we still marched. When I started hearing about BLM, I said, I'm done. I will stand with Colin Kaepernick. I am not a back the blue guy. I am a back a good cop guy. Mm-hmm. If you're a good cop, you're a hero to me. But if you're a complicit cop and you stand by like them motherfuckers did with Chauvin, all they had to do with Derek Chauvin is push him the fuck off of George Floyd, and George Floyd would be alive right now. But they were complicit. They should be in prison for the rest of their fuck. Actually, if it was my way, Chauvin and them 3 cops or 2 cops, whatever it was, they really should go to prison and have the biggest fucking guy put their fucking knee on their neck and lose their lives the same way. But you got pieces of shit like Candace Owen, who says he was a drug. I don't give a shit if he was a drug addict, because if that's the case, every white person that's on meth that has 2 teeth, if that's the case, then I guess they're going to get a knee on their neck. So that's how we handle drug addicts in this country. They killed George Floyd. They killed him.
Absolutely. And we watched them do it.
And we
watched it with our own eyes.
Watched him do it. Okay. I'm not gonna say I was for looting. I've never been for looting. But what I will say is this: there were also bad actors that infiltrated BLM too. But I would get mad with BLM because there would be stories about BLM people doing some fucked up shit. I'm like, where is the top leadership? Call it out. Go on TV. All these liberal channels would love to have you on there. How come on my show? Come out and denounce what is going on. I didn't like that. Then the stories, like you said, came out buying the houses, buying this, buying that. Because if I was in charge, and BLM is not just black people. I want to remind people that during the civil rights era, my dad was a Jew. He marched with King. If you remember Mississippi burning, I believe it was two Jewish guys, two white
Gene
guys.
Hackman.
Yep.
Two Jewish guys and a black man went missing, and they found them in the swamps. Yep.
Exactly, Jay.
A great movie. Great movie.
Right. So you have allies. It was different people. If I was in charge of that group, whether it's BLM or I don't care what you call it, you can't be everywhere at all times. But I would have people in charge in cities over it. Say, if shit goes down, you need to contact the headquarters, and we need to come out and denounce whatever it is. When people were saying we need to put the troops on Black Lives Matter protesters that are right, I said, fuck no, that's not what they're there for. And when people on the right say about January 6th, and then they say, well, what about Black Lives Matter? It's not even apples and oranges. I'm not condoning looting. I never had. I had one Trump friend that I tried to look the other way, and I couldn't. When he said they need to put the military, I said, you never served a day in your life, and that's not what they're there for. We're done. I'm over. I'm through with you. I never talked to him again. That was 2019.
Yeah, they wanted to see the hoses and the tanks in the streets.
Like they did in 60. Put dogs on them and everything else.
Absolutely. Yep. That's what they wanted to see. Yo, listen. You're absolutely right, man. It was the 8 years of a black man and a black woman in the White House with two beautiful children who acted like they had some sense. No scandals outside of the arms deal bullshit and the Benghazi shit with Hillary Clinton. I mean, but other than that, I mean, nothing like we're seeing right now. And it's like, dude, what the fuck are we doing here, bro? How have we fallen so far into fucking madness that people are actually willing to hand this fucking guy a dictatorship?
Yeah.
We have
Jay, I said this today. I said this to Debbie over. I said this many times. I know I did a video on it, an MMF video. I said, if they cared, first of all, when he attacked John McCain, that should have ended it right there. That should have ended it.
Grabbing them by the pussies. That should have ended it.
Right. And then the Hollywood access thing. But they wanted to get rid of Trump after the Hollywood access tape, but they were fucking cowards. What they should have done, and I don't care if it was the Democrats, if it was reversed, I'd call it Democrats out. This is what they should have done. If they really cared about country over party, they should have said, we can't run this guy. He's done. Put somebody else. I know it was a very short time before the election, but what they should have done is said, look, American people, you can write somebody in. If you don't want Hillary Clinton, oh, hey, we're going to put Mitt Romney up again. He's going to be our candidate. But you know what? If we lose this one, we cannot, as a party, as Americans, put this guy up in good conscience. So what we'll do is we'll try to keep the House and the Senate. I don't even remember what the Senate and House looked like back then. What we'll do is we'll lose this one. We'll come back in 20. We'll fucking regroup our party, be inclusive, not exclusive. We'll start welcoming people in. We're still conservative because let's be honest, there's a lot of African-American people that are conservative.
Hey, listen, I'm conservative on some issues and I'm liberal on others.
I'm conservative on some issues. I'm social, I'm liberal. I mean, social issues, I'm liberal as can be. I'm pro-choice. But when it comes to spending, I'm more conservative because I worked with the government and I worked as a government contract. I see the waste, fraud, and abuse in these government contracts. And both sides, when they pass a bill, all this pork that's in these fucking bills. You know, a guy came out with a video and he said that it should be, instead of adding Ukraine or Israel aid, it should be one issue, one bill. Like, okay, if it's about Ukraine aid, that's the bill. We're not adding everything onto it. Democrats and Republicans do that shit.
Yeah, and
Democrats are not exempt.
And they do it purposely.
They do it purposely.
They do it purposely.
Right. So be transparent and say, we're going to vote on eyeglasses. We want to lower the cost of eyeglass prescriptions. That's it. We were not putting water on it and fucking cell phones and this.
Yeah,
And the Democrats and the Republicans do it. They
a
both do it.
400,000 page fucking bill with all kinds of nonsense and
With
bullshit
nonsense
in it.
Right,
Yeah,
all that pork. But no, you're absolutely right. What you said, back to what you said with the Obamas. You had somebody that represented everything that a Christian is supposed to be about. But the problem was he was African American. Really? We came so far.
absolutely.
You had John Lewis, who was a civil rights fighter. He told that motherfucker told Jonathan Swan from Axios an interview. Same interview where he said, it is what it is about the people this is fact, you fucking maggots. This is fact.
We watched it.
He said, right. He said, well, there was other ones because John Lewis didn't like him. There was Rosa Parks. There was Martin Luther King. This motherfucker is a racist.
Yeah.
If you know you're a racist motherfucker, when you and your father in the 1970s are putting the letter C for color on housing apartment rentals, and the Nixon administration, they have him on tape dropping the N-word, was racist as fuck. His own administration investigated him, found them liable for what they were doing for practices. But Donald told the father, no, don't sell because he's such a brilliant businessman. Wind up paying lawyers to wind up what? Settling the fucking case.
Yeah.
But he's not racist. And I call out on my show, I call out African Americans that sell out the community. Larry Elder, who said in California, for your viewers that may not know him, ran in the recall election against Gavin Newsom.
No, I know.
That motherfucker said, and I quote, slave owners should get reparations.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Larry Elder, who beat up his girlfriend at the time, has issues himself. You got Candace Owens, who wants to belittle George Floyd because they all found
Jason Whitlock,
that motherfucker.
I can't stand him. I originally got blocked off of X because him and Stephen A. I just couldn't take it anymore. The shucking and the jiving. Yeah. I won't say the word that I used, an animal or whatever, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Right. And they banned me. They must have reported me or whatever. But anyway,
look, Stephen A. Smith just fucking first of all, and I called out The Rock too. Now I challenge The Rock.
I'm done with him.
I love The Rock. You know what? I've always said, I said, The Rock worked hard his acting career. I said, wow. And here's the thing I don't like about The Rock. And I called him out on this shit. And I meant it. I said, your father, Rocky, he's passed away. God rest. So he's being embarrassing. First of all, The Rock had no business doing what he did on Fox fucking News. And here's the second part. If you remember that sequel to Get Shorty with John Travolta, The Rock played a gay character.
Gay guy. Yeah, he played a gay dude.
And I actually said
at Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, what was it?
Vince Vaughn was his homeboy. Right. He was a gay. He was like a gay dude who wanted to be an actor or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he probably either got with someone LGBTQ or and I thought he actually did a good performance. And from then forward, his acting was getting better and better. I'm not saying he's Denzel, but he got better. When he went on Fox, and here's the thing, they're the one and the same, lesser of two. There's no lesser of two. You don't have to like any policy that Joe Biden has done. But if you're going to sit here and try to tell me that Joe Biden and Vice President Harris will destroy democracy, go fuck yourself today, tomorrow, and next week. Because Trump will destroy democracy as it stands and just fucking take this country down with them. So when he did that shit, when he said he can't endorse him, and then they try to say, well, he didn't say, no, he knew exactly what he was saying. I think it ties into this whole WWE or some shit, which Vince McMahon is a huge fucking trumpet. Vince McMahon's wife was in Trump's fucking
he's a fucking scumbag. He's been all kinds of cases.
Sexual assault.
The cases, like the whole WWE was, about crashing out. That's why they had to go and get The Rock and fucking John Cena back and some of the other guys because, it's become a fucking shit show over there. And it's like, it's insane. And it's like, let's be real. What is wrong with the policies that Joe Biden has gotten through? I mean, they're actually going to help American people. You know what I'm saying? I love the content creator Too Raw.
I've been reposting him.
Black dude, yeah, he's fucking amazing, man.
Well, you know what I love about him too? He's calling out. In our house, we don't fucking paint in broad strokes. If a white person does something wrong, they did something wrong. That doesn't mean every Caucasian person.
Oh yeah, he's calling out.
Black.
Yep.
He's addressing his community because
Absolutely.
he just did a video about Vice President Harris where he said, "What everything she's doing? Are you fucking kidding me?" He did one about calling shit out about Trump, about this fucking bullshit about the HBCUs, about how Joe Biden did way more for the HBCUs.
Way more.
But the thing is, when you have Candace Owens and you have them fucking twins, I can't think of those twins, the brothers that do that shit. What they do is they find these people, which they're making money off of it. Candace Owens to become $1 million off of this shit.
Selling merch and books
selling merch and everything else, having books. Because what happens is those racist motherfuckers look to them and say, I can't be fucking racist. She's black and she's saying what I feel. No, she's grifting, you dumb motherfuckers, because she had the Democrats help her in the past. But now she's found a fucking grift. And she just got fired from...
She just got fired from her spot. So now she's
the Daily Beast? I don't remember who it was.
It's the Beast, something like that.
It might be Daily Beast, but whoever it was, they're fucked up too. So when you get fired from there, it's like Tucker Carlson getting fired from Fox. When you get fired from that shithole Fox, boy, you got to be pretty fucked up. They threw him under the bus. So she's trying to recreate. Your boy Jason Whitlock called, and I took her for Leslie Jones. Unfortunately, she never got back to me. He called her, a black woman called her an ape, and Jason rolled with that shit. And I went after him. I said, you fat fucking piece of shit. And what kills me is when they attack people's looks. They want to call somebody overweight, right? Alvin Bragg. They're calling him, he's heavy set, but they're calling him names on behalf of Trump. Trump is the fucking morbidly obese. He's fucking orange. His hair is candy fucking, looks like candy cotton, whatever fucking color it is.
Yeah.
He's farting in the fucking courtroom. He's a disgusting fucking pig.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am flabbergasted that we are here again. After 4 years of Joe Biden and everything he's accomplished. And it's like, what are we doing? People want to say, oh, it's inflation, gas prices. It's not. It's just corporate greed. That's all it is.
It is corporate greed. It is corporate greed. I want to get somebody on my show, and these are the type of shows I want to do. And if I get them on, I ask them to come on your show next. Okay. I want to get people that are smarter than us that can really, not just charts. That's the thing I hate about with Democrats. They sometimes they fucking over talk. Talk in layman terms. Don't do it for 3 hours and hold up this chart and that chart. The only one that can do the whiteboard well is Katie Porter. But she
speak to the people.
But she delivers it where we understand. But the Democrats, the one thing I knock them for is their fucking messaging. They drive me nuts with their message. Talk about table issues in layman terms. I want to get people on my show that can talk to them because you know as well as I do that our other countries' inflation is through the fucking roof. But you have Donald Trump who goes to these fucking Hitler rallies and says gas is $8 a gallon. It's not even $8 a gallon in California. And Deb and I just left California. It was in the 5s. It was in the 4s. And now it went up a little bit now, and it usually does going towards the summer months. And the president really doesn't affect the fucking gas price.
Absolutely not.
In the oil refinery business. She knows it better than fucking most. But what happens is they want to blame the president, or sometimes they want to give the president credit when the gas price goes. It's not the president. Nope. It's not the fucking president. But they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Every day at that fucking courthouse, Trump goes out there. That's why I'm really pissed that cameras are not in the courtroom because I want to hear that shit. I actually think because he's a former president, they should fucking be in there. The American people need to hear what the fuck is going on. Because a segment of them, it may not change a lot of the maggot motherfuckers, as I call them, the MMFs, but they still need to hear. But you know what? In all honesty, Jay, the January 6th hearings should have ended it. Look, I'm not a Liz Cheney fan and I'm not an Adam Kinzinger fan, but what I will give credit, because that's what I always do, is that at least when January 6th happened, that was their bridge too far because they both voted for Trump in 20. And I'm totally opposite of what Liz Cheney stood for and what Adam Kinzinger stood for. But they did the right thing in the moment. They sat on the J6 committee. I wish they would have fucking the second impeachment. They would have done the right thing there. That was the way that the Republicans could have got rid of him where he couldn't run again. But they're fucking cowards. And the motherfuckers that aren't MAGA, ultra MAGA, that are more in the middle are cowards, because if you're complicit and you don't call out a Marjorie Taylor Greene or a Matt Gaetz or a Bobart or a Paul Gosser or Ted Cruz or Josh the Fister Holly that fucking
Oh, I can't stand him. The one running, scurrying away like a rat when the shit was going down. Yeah.
Exactly. If you can't call them out, your wing, you're fucking cowards. And you're no different than the cop that doesn't say anything about the dirty cops. Because, like I said, I hated defund the police, which was Cori Bush and them said that in the squad on the left. I'm not for that. We need the police. We need to retrain the police. We need better psychological profiling when they get hired so they can get weeded out. There's things that we could do. We need community policing. I want to see police go into inner cities and work with in
neighborhoods. Whatever happened to the neighborhood watch?
Neighborhood watch.
We had that growing up. I know I did.
We had it too, Jay.
We were a community. Everybody looked out for everybody.
Look out for each other. So when they go to an elderly black person that's in the ghetto, in the hood, and say, look, I know you're scared. I know you don't want to tell on this guy that's slinging drugs or they shooting this gangbanger. But if you work with us, we'll handle it, for your safety. And earn the trust of the people. Earn the trust back, because not all cops are bad. There's a lot of good cops out there and they serve a purpose. We can't be without cops. That's the wild, wild fucking West. And this whole gun thing, nobody's coming for your fucking guns. Okay? Nobody. But you don't need an AK-47 to protect yourself. That's a bunch of shit.
Absolutely not. AR-15s and all of this combat. You're in the military. There's no need for that kind of weaponry in anyone's home. And I'm all for hunting and sports shooting and all that shit. Handgun, shotgun, whatever have you, but all of that extra shit that I be seeing online, dudes got, AR-15s with the scopes and the this and the that. It's like, fucking give me a break, man. What are we doing here? Watching a movie? And that's a great segue into what I want to get into next, because I know we've gone a little long and I know you're a busy dude. I don't want to keep you up too late, but I do want to kind of like segue into like your, you're an author, right? You've done some TV and movies. You were on one of my favorite shows, House of Cards. Great fucking show. I'm going to have to rewatch it and try to catch what episode or where you were at. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a great show. I loved it. I hated everything that happened with, Spacey. Kevin Spacey. He was my guy, man. He was my guy, but not anymore, man.
Look, here, I'm going to tell you the truth. Great fucking actor.
Oh, fuck
not a good human being. Just like John Voight with this whole Trump stuff.
Oh, I can't stand him.
Oscar-winning great actor, but a fucking lousy human being. And he wasn't a nice guy in a set either. I was just talking to, who the hell was I talking to? Somebody, I can't remember who it was, a friend of mine out in Hollywood. And I said, not a nice guy. So, I know all about Kevin Spacey. But like you said, I wrote like I said, I made my bones in this business doing boxing interviews. My book is called Boxing Interviews of a Lifetime. A lot of famous world-class heavyweight world championship fighters, celebrities that enjoy the sport. For the people that like Stormy Daniels, well, I didn't have Stormy Daniels in there, but I had probably one of the biggest adult movie stars in it. She talked about boxing is Vanessa Del Rio, who was very famous back in the day out of New York. But and she loved the sport of boxing, but it came out in 2002. I did some acting for a while.
Where can I get that? I don't mean to cut you off.
What's that, my book?
Yeah.
You can get it. I'll send you a link, but if you go to authorhouse.com, just type in Boxing Interviews of a Lifetime and you can get it there.
Okay.
That's the best place to get it. You get wholesale. But did some acting. When I moved, I wound up moving to Oklahoma to be near Debbie because we met. I was living in Virginia at the time. So my couple of years with doing acting kind of ended because there was no gigs out there. But I did stage. I did some industrial videos. I did independent film. And I really enjoyed it because, again, I get that from my dad. My dad acted, went to Hollywood. It didn't work out. He did a lot of off-Broadway stuff. And he always would be stopped on the streets. If you know the famous actor Eli Wallach, who's in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I love him. Him. Great actor.
My dad looked like him. He also played many movies. But he played Don Alcabello in Godfather Part 3.
Absolutely. Yep.
My dad would get
the cannolis.
Yes, she poisoned him with the cannolis.
Yep. Love that. Great movie. I gotta have you on again sometime where we can, get into the like top five best, this top five best that, because you're the man, dude. You definitely are a great conversation, man. And then what other outside of House of Cards? What other stuff were
I
you
did
in?
when I started out. When I did House of Cards. That's where I learned to lay the lamb.
Okay.
I did extra work on House of Cards, and I did extra work on V with Julius Louis Dreyfus.
Oh, I love
The
that
sad
show.
part about House of Cards was I was extra. I was at a table in a suit, so we were kind of like DC socialites. But I got lucky, but then I got unlucky. I'll tell you what happened. So they pulled me aside, and my buddy that was sitting next to me, he was dressed up as an army officer. He's like a colonel, and he had the whole uniform on, but I had the suit and tie. So they pulled me aside, the PA, which is production assistant, said, "Look, would you like to be in a scene with Kevin and Robin Wright where you have dialogue?" I said, "Yeah, because if I get some dialogue and I get enough dialogue, I'll be able to get my SAG card." I was trying to get in the SAG.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, great." So I said, "Okay." So they made the night longer. I had a scene where I come down the stairs and they're lined up and we're shaking their hands, and I had some improvised lines that I was like, "Cool. If I have it on a reel, I'll be able to apply for SAG." Unfortunately, the fucking scene got cut. And so all you see is me coming down the fucking stairs, but you don't hear the talking part. So I couldn't get SAG. But the part about Kevin Spacey, where he was an asshole, was this. My buddy says to me, "Brad, come here. I'm like, "What?" He said, "Watch what Kevin Spacey is doing." I said, "Well, what are he doing?" They kept yelling cut when we were shaking. When we had like 6, 7 people come down, you'd shake the hand. It was one actor, another, Robin Wright Penn, who was his wife, and then him. And then we walked off. They yelled cut. I'm like, why do they keep cutting? Because this is making a night long as fuck. It was long as hell. When you're an extra, you're making, if you're not SAG, you're making even less fucking money.
Yeah.
What he was doing, he was going off camera, talking to his assistant, getting hand sanitizer. But he was talking to his assistant like shit. So I'm like, dude, really? Now, if he would have said to the crew, to us, like, "Hey, look, I'm cutting because I got a movie coming up. I can't get sick." Because it's not like they test us.
No, I get it.
There was no COVID then or anything. But like test us, I can live with that. Okay, he's being trained. I'm like, so you keep cutting. I'm like, I don't know where the fuck your hands have been. I should go over and get some fucking hand sanitizer. Then at the end of the shoot, I had no interest, but a bunch of people that were on the shoot wanted to take a picture with him. He wouldn't take no pictures with nobody on the fucking crew. I'm like, what an asshole. So then a year later, I'm working on an industrial video in Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm sitting, we were in a auditorium, we're talking about, "Hey, I worked on this, I did that, I did it." The guy was talking, he said he worked on a movie with Kevin Spacey at Garden of Evil or something like that. It was made in New Orleans. Clint Eastwood directed it. He said, dude, he was an asshole to the people on the set, to the extras, to the other people, and he used to go off camera because he's gay, which he admits it, and he's a drunk. And he used to treat the guys would show up as the lovers and go off to his trailer, and he would treat them like shit. I'm like, this guy's an asshole. And then I found out from other people, great actor, but not a nice person.
Yeah, and it seems to be the case for a lot of them.
It is.
As I become a little bit older and do my research and really look at some things, it's like you think that these people are amazing people because they're so good at their craft, and then you get a situation with like Will Smith where he embarrasses one of the best comedians, I believe, in the business, in the industry. And I know Chris Rock gets a lot of flack, for, being friends with certain people who have said some questionable things about, the African American community and things like that. But for the most part, I grew up with Chris Rock, New Jack City, I'm gonna get you sucker. I mean, those were roles before he hit it big. And so it's just like to see Will Smith embarrass not only himself and his family and his legacy, and then embarrass Chris Rock on in front of a live audience on TV, everyone at home, everybody that was there. It was just a unfortunate situation. But
yeah, I will say this. I hear you. I wish Chris didn't do that though. I wish he would have done it either. He went too far with that line though.
But you gotta understand, they wrote it. He didn't write that. The producers wrote that. You know, Chris Rock ain't writing no material if he's doing if he's hosting the show. It's all written material from writers and producers. He may have
Maybe.
it might have been him, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a joke. Where have we become
I
so
know. I know.
fragile?
Well,
Like,
the
come on,
problem I
man,
had.
because Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Eddie
Oh,
Murphy.
yeah. Oh,
I
I
mean,
know.
if you're in the front row, they got on you, and that's the great thing about the whole relationship between comedian and viewer. You know what I mean? Is that you get that interaction. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I hear you. I hear you.
I see the kid Matt Rife. I see a lot of his videos on social media, and
Right.
he be getting into the
Roasted him.
audience.
And
Yeah,
Don
yeah,
Rickles,
he be
my
roasting
favorite,
them.
Don Rickles used to roast them bad in the first
Ah, I
show.
love Don Rickles.
Don Rickles
He
used to
was
roast them.
amazing in Casino.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
He was amazing in Casino.
When he comes with the shotgun in the car.
Yeah, and they stay up all night trying to get the wife to come home with the kids.
Yep.
Robert De Niro's going crazy.
Yep.
Love that movie, man. Love Joe Pesci, man, too,
Oh, he
man.
was fantastic in
Great
that.
shit.
When he said,
We
"You
definitely
lost
got
a
it.
fucking eye for that guy." He put his head in a vice.
Yeah, absolutely. I it broke my heart at the ending of that movie to see him go out that way. You know, I always root for the bad guys for some reason. You know what I mean? It's just always been that way. I grew up watching a lot of black and white movies, Turner
Yeah.
Classic movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Humphrey Bogart was
Yeah.
like my guy. You know, James Cagney. And I like
favorite. Here, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna play
go
the
ahead.
review for a second. Favorite James Cagney movie is?
Oh shit, you're gonna screw me up. I don't even remember their names. I would have to say the one where he's screaming, "Look
Top
at
of the
me now,
World,
ma."
Ma.
Yeah, On Top of the World.
I'm
That's
gonna
the
tell you the
one.
movie.
And then
You ready for it?
go ahead.
He played Cody Jarrett.
Okay.
The year is 1949, and the movie is called White Heat.
Okay, yeah, White Heat. There you go. You're right.
My favorite James Cagney movie. Top of the World, Ma. Boom.
Yep. That was mine. And then what was the one where he played Tom Dillinger or something like that, right? Or something where
John Dillinger.
they shoot him outside of a movie theater. He
Public
gets
Enemy?
shot up. That might have been Public
John
Enemy.
Dillinger in that one.
What was the one where his best friend was a priest?
Oh yeah, you're talking about it was either Public Enemy or Angels with Dirty Faces.
It might have been Angels with Dirty Faces.
Yeah, you remember? You talked about Bogart. Did you ever see the Roaring '20s?
Yeah, I saw the Roaring '20s with him and Cagney, and
he falls down the stairs at the end. He dies.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the church.
By the
He
church.
gets shot in the back. Yeah. Great
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
The Maltese Falcon was a great
That was
movie
with
with
Bogart.
Humphrey.
Sam Spade.
Loved that
Sam
movie.
Spade.
Sam Spade.
Yeah.
I love the movie where he was a writer and he got with the chick and he tried to kill her.
Yeah, you're talking about the two Carols? No, the two. I've seen it before. I've seen the last 2.
It might have been I don't know if it was the two Carols, but
something. I think that's called.
He was like a screenwriter or a book writer.
Well,
or
you know
whatever.
his last movie, he was dying in it, was The Harder They Fall, which was a boxing movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got to check that one out. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Okay. Great actor.
What was it? The Harder They Fall? 19. Yeah, no, that seems familiar. That seems like I watched. That seems like that's a movie that I've seen. What else? Let me see. I mean, why don't you go ahead and tell the viewers where they can get you on all your social medias? Because I know you're on unless you got something else I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're a busy man.
Nah, not 11 o'clock. I ain't busy. I'm all right.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, man. Well, let's keep it going, man.
I'll give it to him if we can roll a little longer. That's fine.
That's fine. Well, let's get into it because, like I said, I'll talk with you forever. Like, you right. You on my wavelength, man. I get so tired of dealing with people on Twitter. Like I had somebody today tell me that and he's a follower and he's a Bills fan and we've got that Bills bond and we'll always be Bills Mafia. But he was like I posted something about the Jay Pitzers and he was like, oh, he told those people to go down there and protest peacefully and yada yada yada. And I'm like,
back up and say the first part again.
Huh? He said Trump sent those people there. He told them to be peaceful protest and
January 6th?
Yeah, they took it upon themselves to take it to the next level.
Bullshit.
And I was like,
He
come
told him,
on,
if you
man.
don't have a country, you fight like hell, you don't have a country no more. And here's the fucking
Absolutely.
part. That fucking bastard was going to march down there with him until he got back in an SUV. Now, they claim he grabbed the Secret Service guy and demanded, but he never made it there. He went back for 187 minutes and did nothing. But I get this out the way. So on YouTube, just type in the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show. You'll find my show there. You can find me on Twitter. My handle is at Bad Brad RSR. And that's basically it. I'm on Instagram, but I don't do really nothing with Instagram. Those are
Yeah,
my
nah,
two
me
main
neither.
platforms.
Yeah, I just do I just basically do the YouTube and the X, but I also go live on Facebook too, with
Right.
the service that I got, so it's just usually them three. I don't really
Right.
do much on Instagram or
Here's the
anything.
thing. January 6th happened because Trump said, and they knew it way before. I just read an article today that they were talking about this a year before the election. He lied about an election that was most secure election in the United States of America. Chris Krebs, who worked for, I believe, Homeland Security or wherever he worked, was over it. He was a Republican. He said it was the most secure. 60 out of 61 court cases with Trump judges too said, get the fuck out of here with Giuliani with the fucking hair dye and farting and giving Jen Ellis fucking COVID. All that bullshit. Mike Lindell, who's still talking that shit. I swear he's back on fucking crack. They need to take a fucking pillow and put it over his fucking mouth.
Yo, he went broke. He literally went broke. Fucking defending this dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, it's disgusting.
Hawking his fucking equipment, all of his fucking inventory.
Exactly, Jay. When he debated Biden, and the moderator said, "Will you denounce white supremacy?" and he wouldn't. Then candidate Biden said, he said, give me a name, give me a name. That's what Trump said. He said the Proud Boys. Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Absolutely.
Really? Stand by. Then he goes, what about Antifa? Trump said it was Antifa, BLM, and his cult, and then the cult said FBI, they infiltrated. The motherfucking Oath Keepers are the Proud Boys. One of them dressed like the fucking FBI with the khaki pants and the shirt. He waited 187 fucking minutes. You think for a fucking second, if that was Antifa and Black Lives Matter, he would have waited for 187 minutes? They would have been shot and fucking killed because he would have tried to get them to fucking be shot.
Yeah. Listen, let's be real, man. If they really wanted to have a peaceful protest, they would have been prepared. I got something today that I researched where it came out in whatever he's going through, that the fucking he didn't have they didn't have no plan set up. The dude who was running I guess the reserves for the
oh yeah, right. They didn't get the order.
Yeah. But 3 days
they wanted
prior,
to go.
Yeah. 3 days prior to the event, they were asking, like, listen, this is what's gonna go down. We already know what's going down. It's all, we're gonna need this. This is gonna happen. These people ain't coming to be peaceful. You know what I'm saying? Because they already knew from all of the Facebook chatter and everything. Like, come on, man. Like, FBI, they knew what the fuck was going on. They knew what the fuck was going on, and they let that shit happen.
Yeah.
And
then remember, Trump said Pelosi.
Yeah.
Pelosi had no fucking control over that shit. But that's all he fucking does is lie, and lie.
Yeah.
Like I said, every day he come out the courtroom, he goes to the cameras talking about the peaceful protest, talking about the court case. Nobody's showing up. He was saying all this police thing. They did a video. They walked around. There was one street that was blocked off. And
couple people with flags.
Right. There was like
but that was it.
People.
Not thousands of people. Like, they're trying to manufacture these fake fucking photo ops at Chick-fil-A and shit. And it's like, but they'll tear down Biden, who will actually go into someone's home, sit down, have dinner with them, kind of conversate and get to know them and try to see what is what. Meanwhile, this dude's in Chick-fil-A talking about, let me buy you some chicken sandwiches and some milkshakes. And,
and the girl that did it was the RNC. That was all the fucking
Yeah. The chick works for him that he took the picture with.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, really, really, the way you'll see he wasn't really trying to, like, it was kind of like
to get hugged He was
Yeah,
standoffish. If you looked at
absolutely.
it,
Like,
he was like, you could tell
yeah,
him with stage, he didn't want to hug her.
absolutely not. You could tell body language was like, man, come on, I don't want to
Yeah.
do this. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
But he's a weirdo, bro. He's a weirdo, and I
He's a
never
trickster.
ever understood how anybody could fall for his shit. He's been a snake oil salesman from the jump, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you being a New York guy, the casinos, all of it. Like me personally, I believe, and you call me conspiracy, whatever you want to say, I'm crazy, but I believe the dude in the mid '80s became a Russian asset when
I
he
wouldn't doubt it.
went down there to get his wife. He fell in love with Putin the whole game. They gave, they showed him a good time, explained to him like, listen, bro, just chill, be easy. We're gonna fucking launder money through your businesses. You're gonna make money. You're gonna be a billionaire. Everything's gonna be right. And at the right time, when we all everything aligns up and we can fuck around and we'll get you in there and you'll be the
Yeah.
man.
Let me tell
Because
you
it
something.
just
It's
it
embarrassing.
looked
It's Jay, it's fucking embarrassing that he was the fucking president. I mean, it's so
yeah.
fucking embarrassing. He wasn't remotely qualified. The guy that said, I know more than the generals. I know more than generals? You never served a fucking day in your life. He was saluted a fucking North Korean fucking general. You don't salute
Absolutely.
the fucking traitors.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's the only president to give Kim Un-jun
Kim Jong Un, yeah.
a fucking visit. Like, I don't remember any other presidents in my lifetime going over to North Korea.
No,
You know
wait,
what I mean?
he didn't go completely to North
No, no,
Korea.
no. I know
He
they
put his
met.
foot. He did his foot,
Yeah,
and that
they
was
met at the
disrespectful too.
fucking point where they.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
but you
get all of
remember
that.
he started out calling him Rocket Man and attacking him. And here's the thing. When he negotiated, I think the second time he met him was like in Vietnam or somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. He got nothing. Because he was like, oh, you were safe because he was going to have a nuclear war. Really? You think that if he launches shit at us, we would launch shit and fucking blow him out the fucking water. He's not
Yeah, they
an
can't read.
adversary like that against us.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, it's the big three. It's Iran. It's Iran and what's the other one? Who else has got the nuclear weapons outside of us? Israel and Iran.
You know what? I can't even say. I'm so
Yeah,
fucking tied up with Trump. I forgot. I used to know something. I can't think of the other one that has them, to be honest with you.
yeah. Well, fuck all of that craziness because ain't nobody gonna push the button, bro. It ain't gonna happen.
But they want this guy to have the nuclear codes.
Yeah,
The most unstable. He's a petulant fucking child. He cares more about them saying he's got a tiny dick than he does anything else.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you
what
this.
happened when Stormy and Karen McDougal take the fucking stand. I don't think he can get erection anymore. I think it's part of his problem. He's impotent. He can't stand it. I want to see if he can keep his composure because he's gonna lose his shit.
He's not gonna take the stand because then
No, not him. I said when he sees Stormy and Karen McDougal.
Isn't Michael Cohen gonna be a
He's taking a
witness?
stand too. That's gonna
Yeah,
be
man, I
interesting.
agree with you, man. These things should be televised. Like the
Yeah.
American people should see this shit. Like just like we saw the O.J. Simpson trial and the chick down in Florida that the Kylie, what was the chick down in Florida?
Casey Anthony.
Casey Anthony. The Aubrey. When the
Ahmaud
three
Arbery,
white
yeah.
dudes, Ahmaud Aubrey, we got to see that. Like we should be seeing this shit. This is American history right here.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. And I don't get it, bro. I just don't get how people love this dude, man. I don't get what it is, man.
Because they identify with the racism, the misogyny,
Yeah.
and they don't want to lose their whiteness. They really don't want to lose their whiteness. Make America great again. First of all, Reagan said that slogan. But here's the thing: make America great for who? For immigrants? For women? For people of color? For the LGBTQ? Who is America great for? I always say this, and I mean it. America was never great. However, we have the potential, and we will never be great, but we have the potential to be so much better. But you're always going to have that 30 or 35% racist motherfuckers in this country that if they took a fucking vote on slavery, a lot of
they
them would
want it back.
bring it back.
Yeah, they want it back. Yeah, absolutely. And they talk about the border, but they don't mention the fact that they had it in plan, ready to go, and it would have been voted on and it would have passed. But their guy says, no, don't fuck that shit because I need to campaign on this shit.
Right. Well,
You know what I'm
the
saying? And
guy,
it's all a fucking con. It's all
right,
bullshit.
right. Well, Langford out of Oklahoma, I can't stand him. Very conservative, senator out of Oklahoma, was the one that brought the bill with bipartisanship, and it would have been the toughest. I'm not saying it would have fixed everything, the toughest immigration bill
To
to
this
date.
day.
And they could have got it passed, but like you said, Trump said kill it because it's easier to tell all these lies. So now, whenever they find an immigrant, who the fuck says immigrants are poisoning our blood? This country was built on the back of immigrants. The Jewish side of my family came from Kiev through
Irish,
Ellis Island. The Italian side of my family came from Italy through Ellis Island. They built this country on the backs of immigrants.
Absolutely. And it's a shame that we've become a country to where we, aren't that country anymore, where we aren't liberty. You know what I mean? The Statue of Liberty means nothing anymore.
No.
Well,
it's like the bastardization of the flag. The flag should cover everybody.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, white, black, foreigner. I don't give a shit. We used to welcome people to this country. And this is what's so fucking stupid to me. Instead of fucking trying to keep people out that are coming here for the American dream, like my great-grandfather did, and my great-grandfather and my great-grandfather on my father's side, and bringing them here legally, going through the process in the courts, which they should get more judges, expedite the fucking process. You have people that want to have their allegiance to America, work permit, put them while they're waiting for the process, get them jobs, because guess what, you stupid motherfuckers? That's taxes. That's a tax base. But really, so you want to deport them. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there's not some bad actors that are coming through. Look, I'm not telling you that in a presidential election that you don't have some fraud here and there. And with the numbers that there is, of course there's. But the sad part, you motherfuckers, is that they're finding in the election that the fraud was done by fucking Republicans.
Yeah,
okay?
always.
Yeah. So
always.
You're dirty motherfuckers. You're talking about fraud. There was not any fraud to turn over the election. And the other thing, talking about the election, we need to get rid of the Electoral College.
Absolutely.
Republicans don't want to do that because they know
they'll never win.
Because they'll never win. Because really, every other election is vote for vote. I run against you for Congress. I get 960. You get 959. I win. It's over. It should be like that. But again, they could have dropped this motherfucker off and revamped their party. Okay? I don't have a problem with somebody who's pro-life. I don't agree with them. But I have a problem with somebody that's pro-life that says, like Kristi Noem, the governor, that it's a blessing for a 10-year-old to have a baby. You
from her
bitch.
Rapist.
Right, a rapist, right?
If her uncle rapes her and impregnates her, then God wanted that to happen. I remember some idiot said that women fucking ovulate during rape or some shit like that. One of those fucking wackadoos said, a while back.
Right.
But it's insanity, man. It's insanity. And it's like they talk about pedophilia and all of this, but it's in the red states where you can marry a 13-year-old child, or it's insane. I mean, I'm all day long, I'm fucking I see nothing but, white Christian fucking preachers, pastors, camp fucking counselors, cops, one after another after another.
You're talking about that one account, Bex, BEKS.
Yeah,
he puts that out every day.
And every time I see it, I say another one with explanation marks next to it, and it's just.
Well, a lot of people retweet us out and say, "Not a drag queen, not a drag queen."
Yeah, absolutely. Yup. Yeah, no, not someone gay, not the fucking gay teacher that's teaching your kid.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, people have attacked the word woke because they don't understand what the fucking word really means. All woke means is the evolving of a people.
Yeah.
Like, you have to evolve. You have to be inclusive. People aren't going to all be, straightforward, we're all different. Make
Right.
makeup. Our makeups are different. People, you can't control who someone loves, although they're gonna try, because I told you that's what they're going after next, bro.
Yeah.
They're going after. I know it's not Brown versus Brown, but it's one. I always fucking knew it, but I can't think of it now. But yeah, that's the one they're coming after next, bro.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and like you said, that fucking doofus, Clarence Thomas, is like, yeah, I'll listen to it.
Well, look at you
Well,
watch if you know the movie Loving.
yeah,
That
that's
was
it.
about
Loving versus
yeah. I forget
fuck.
too, but that was about interracial marriage.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, it just fucking is insane, man.
So let me ask you a question before we close out.
Go ahead.
What are your Bills going to do this year?
Oh, they're gonna be fantastic. We're gonna draft. Hopefully, we'll draft 2 wide receivers. And then we'll go ahead and get some defensive players, replenish the defensive side of the ball, and we'll be fine. As long as we got Josh Allen, we'll be fine. I mean, he's the second best quarterback in the league. So
Yeah.
as long as we got him, we put some young weapons around him that can grow with him over the next 4 to 5 years. We'll be in good shape. I'm not worried about it. I think next year will be, what it is. I don't know if we'll be strong enough to dethrone the Chiefs at this point. But I do believe we're very close. We're really, really close. It's tough to overcome a team like the Chiefs because they have arguably the greatest offensive mind ever to coach in football. They've got probably the greatest quarterback. After it's all done, he's probably going to be the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. And Andy Reid just knows Sean McDermott. He worked for him in Philly. He knows, Sean is going to have to, evolve his defensive scheme. He's going to have to elevate it. He's going to have to do some different things. Hopefully, the defensive coordinator that we promoted, Sean, will go ahead and allow him to do his job, and Sean
That's your
can
head
get
coach,
back.
Sean
Yeah,
McDermott. Your head coach. Okay.
Sean McDermott can get back to being a head coach. Like last year, he was the head coach and a defensive coordinator, so he wore both hats. And we all saw how that ended up. Injury down the stretch really hurt us. But I don't, I don't make any excuses. Injury is a part of the game. But I think we'll be all right. And do you have a team that you follow? Are you? I
You
know
know
you
what? To
said
be
your
honest with
father was a Bills
you,
fan.
my dad was a Bills fan. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't follow football anymore. Debbie is
Okay.
a Saints fan, obviously being from
Oh,
Louisiana,
okay.
LSU Saints. My
Got you.
team was Dallas.
Okay.
However, when Jerry Jones acted like a Mama Luke, I was done. I said, you fucking full of shit. And then I saw that picture of Jerry Jones when he was like 15 or 16 when they were doing segregation. I was done. So I used to be
Well,
Dallas Cowboys, but I don't care for them no more. To be honest with you, I root for the underdogs. I like to see the Bills win. Anybody that, like the Detroit Lions, I really wanted them to go. I want to see someone win a Super Bowl that's never won a Super Bowl before.
Yeah, I believe me, I'm 48 years old. My team that went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost every one of them. I'm praying to God that I can see a Super Bowl with my team before I die. Is anything that you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, and you talked about Buffalo. My dad's guy was Jim Kelly. He always wanted Jim
Oh
Kelly
yeah,
to win a ring. He loved Jim Kelly. But yeah,
man, great quarterback. For the
how
franchise.
I know he had cancer. Is he doing okay now?
Yeah,
Or?
he had jaw cancer. They fixed him up here at the ECMC place for cancer, or not ECMC. Oh fuck, I can't think of the fucking we've got a really great cancer unit up here. It's right across the street from Buffalo General. I can't think of the fucking name
Okay,
right now, but he had totally reconstructive jaw surgery. Like he had
okay,
mouth cancer from all of the years of chewing
right,
tobacco.
right.
And so they had to like repair all that shit. And so when you Roswell Park, thank you, Mark, thank you, that's what it is, Roswell Park.
Okay,
And so they had to reconstruct all that. And so when you hear him speak now, you can kind of tell. But he's going on to what he's still here in the city. I know that they probably go back and forth wintertime, but a few of the guys still live here. Like Thurman Thomas is here, Steve Tasker is here, Jim is still here. So
okay,
it is what it is. We're trying. Things are starting to look a little bit better for the city of Buffalo. They're building up the waterfront. They're trying to figure it out. And we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you one thing, man. it ain't as bad as they try to make it
Yeah.
be on X, bro. Like I'm buying eggs, I'm getting by. You know what I mean? My eggs ain't $5 a dozen. You know, my milk is, everything is where it's at. And in some areas, like I said, I take it back to corporate greed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you have nothing else, I'll wrap this up.
Yeah. I'll end like this. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No,
Let's
no,
definitely
thanks for
stay.
coming on, man. You don't know, it was an honor to have you on. Like I said, I've been following you for a minute now. I watched 3 of your shows on YouTube. I watched the one with Bernstein, the
Oh, Al
boxing
Bernstein. Yeah,
commentator.
good buddy of
I
mine.
watched the one with Anthony Saramucci.
Scaramucci.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
He was a douchebag at first, but then he kind of he redeemed himself.
Now,
And then there was
Anthony's my paisan.
yeah,
Teach me is what you get with Anthony.
yeah, I really dig him. You gotta maybe try to get him to get on my show. That'd be great. And then there was another guy, a politician, a guy I want to believe he's running for something in
Yeah, he
Maryland.
actually dropped
Jeffrey.
out.
Oh, he
Jeffrey
dropped
Kramer.
out.
Yeah, he dropped
Yeah,
out
yeah.
sadly.
Really?
Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi endorsed the other candidate, so he dropped out.
Oh, that
Yeah.
sucks, man.
Yeah.
He sounded like a really smart, intelligent dude. He got the background in psychiatry. Like
Yeah.
he's on his shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One more thing I'm gonna say. Why don't we do this? Why don't you get me a copy of your book, sign it for me, and then tell me what I owe you, and I can cash app it to you or whatever have you, and you can send me the book because I'd love to get a book of yours.
I don't have. I'll give it to you offline. I don't have
Right.
it. I'll get your stuff.
Okay, yeah.
We'll take
Well,
care
if
of
I
it.
get your book, I'd love for it to be
Absolutely.
signed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can figure something out.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead. All right.
Yeah,
Nothing
no
else you got? I want to thank.
Nope.
Go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
the only
okay.
thing I'm gonna do here is he's wearing. You see, he's wearing a pinky ring, folks. So let's
Yes.
close out like this because we both wear a
Okay.
pinky ring. So I used to say, I don't say it anymore because I actually do because it's canned now. My opening is canned. So as I say, I'm the man with the pinky ring and the New York thing. The Bad Brad Berkwitt Show. Forget about it.
I love that shit. That's my shit. I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Thanks for tuning in to the Uncle Jay podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and catch us next time. I'm your host, Uncle Jay, signing off. As always, stay blessed and go Bills.